I'm Leonard Cassuto. I'm a professor of American Literature and American Studies at Fordham University. And I'm also a baseball fan from way back. I'm an editor of the Cambridge Companion to Baseball, a book that puts all of baseball between two covers. The book is historical, literary, sociological, all at once. It has economics, mass media, globalization, because baseball is intimately involved in all of those things. Baseball is a game with two glorious pasts and one troubled present. By two pasts, I mean, first of all, there is the real past, what actually happened historically through the development of baseball from a game that was played on the sandlots to the enormous business that it is today. But then there's the romantic past, the unreal past, which begins with Abner Doubleday inventing the game, which didn't really happen, proceeding through baseball's storied players, a bird flying out from under Casey Stengel's cap, Jimmy Pearsall running around the bases backwards when he hits his 100th home run, Babe Ruth calling his shot. Baseball is built on a series of myths like those. They rest on a certain kind of firm ground, but it's not a complete story of what's going on. The Cambridge Companion to Baseball looks at baseball through the lens of American culture, but it also looks at American culture through the lens of baseball. For example, baseball and race relations illuminate each other. The story of Jackie Robinson and the story of race relations in the United States generally have everything to do with each other. Baseball is a game, but it also became a creator of common culture. For example, Japanese Americans at the turn of the 20th century chose to play baseball as a way of bringing themselves closer to United States culture. On the other hand, baseball spread to the Pacific Rim has been a display of globalization that's a model for the world economy. Baseball is the national pastime. We all know this. But what does it mean to have a national pastime when the nation is at war? We can look at the way that baseball has wrapped itself in the flag, and we can see some real sentiment there, but we can also see some efforts by business to protect itself. The difference between the appearance and the reality tells us that baseball is both a game, a symbolic game to be sure, the national pastime, and also a business. Baseball's troubled present arises from both of its pasts, and it's connected to them mostly by economics. And the economics of baseball, in turn, are characterized mainly by labor relations. The labor relations being between the players, that is, the laborers, and the team owners. The problem with the way that baseball is being run has to do with the goal of the current administration. It has to do with the way that the current commissioner avoids arguments between small and big market owners, between about competitive parity and things like that. Avoids necessary arguments that need to air fundamental differences of opinion between, not only between labor and management, they have to decide how they're going to split the pie, but also between small and big market owners. Baseball has never achieved a balance between the big market teams, which have large amounts of money to spend on players and which negotiate large television deals, and small market teams which simply don't have those resources. If everyone has to be in the league together, then how is everybody going to work together to make sure that the league brings bounty for everybody? And the only way that you're going to get that bounty is through some kind of competitive parity. How long can baseball last if the Pittsburgh Pirates are always going to be out of contention? How long can baseball last if the Kansas City Royals can't hope to compete for good players on the free agent market? Cheating in baseball has historically been a story of doing what you can get away with on the one hand, but not doing anything that will disrupt the competitive balance of the game. There has been a consensus for quite a while that the use of steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs disrupts the competitive balance of the game. What baseball is going to do about it is quite another thing. They say that journalism is the first draft of history, And that's because journalism is being written while history is happening. Baseball's steroid era is still happening. Whatever we think about it right now is important, but what we think about it right now is not the same as what we're going to be thinking about it in 30 or 40 years. The Cambridge Companion to Baseball is, in general terms, a book that tries to separate these strands of baseball, baseball as game and baseball as business, but a resonant, symbolic game and a very big business. Play ball.